In this tutorial, I'll show you how to animate the camera and just some of the basic controls to do with the camera. So I've got my high noon scene and I've got a little bit of animation on it, like so, and I want to direct a camera to sort of show off this sequence to its best. I've got a camera in the scene. To create cameras, it's in the create menu, and you've got three main types of camera. We're just going to go with the basic kind of camera here. There's another one here that's got an aim constraint, so you can attach that to objects and it'll follow things around. And you've got another one here which has got an aim and an up constraint, just to stop the camera twisting and stuff. So we should have a camera in the scene. So to look through that camera, I'm going to use my perspective view to look through the camera. So if I go to panels, and in my perspective menu here, you'll always find any extra cameras in your scene. So I'm now looking through my camera, and you can move the camera about just like you can your perspective view. So I could click on a character, for example. I think the bones are attached, so let me just turn on so I can select them. I can then press F, and that helps me focus the camera on a particular item. So selecting items and pressing F is a good way to focus the camera. And you can see there's the camera in here. I'm going to change this to my perspective view, so I'm going to just hold the spacebar down and then just left drag up to get this perspective view there, and I'll just change that into shaded mode. So this will just help me see where the camera is. Look, there's the camera there, like so. I'm just going to change some settings before I get started animating the camera. So let's bring up the camera view large. So I'll press the space bar. There's a couple of icons I'll show you. This one here shows you what you will actually render. It's the resolution gauge. So you can see here that this is the shape it will actually render. The little icon next to it, which is also turned on, is the gate mask. So it just masks off areas that are not going to be rendered. At the moment, you can see this is rendered in 640 by 480, which is kind of a bit of an old format. It's a 4:3 aspect ratio, like old telly. So I'm going to change this because eventually I want to render out. I actually want to render out in a sort of a pretend Panavision, like a super wide screen. So I'm going to go up to my render settings here. Just in the common tab, I'm going to scroll down to here, and look, you can see it's set to 640 by 480. Under here, you've got loads of different settings, so you might want to set it to a traditional sort of 16:9, like HD 720, which is 1280 by 720. And you can see that updates the shape of my screen here. Like I said, I'm going to go for a custom resolution, so I'm going to type in my own here. I'm going to type in 1280, but I'm going to have it 534, which is, if I press enter, it's kind of like a Panavision widescreen, like that, but it's just a made-up resolution here. It's just to get this aspect ratio. And if you want to change it, if you want to make it bigger, if you click on the maintain width height ratio, any updates you do to one of the sizes will update the other one to maintain that aspect ratio. You can see the device aspect ratio here says 239, which is the sort of aspect ratio of widescreen. So we got this. So this is showing me exactly what I will render eventually. So now I can start animating my camera. So my opening shot is this chap here walking along Stan. So I'm going to spin my camera around. I'm going to start with a shot like this. Okay. And like I said, to maintain the focus of the camera, if you're sort of spinning the camera around and it's going all over the place, pick an object that you want to focus the camera on and press F to focus that selection. So this is going to be my first keyframe. So I need to select the camera. Now you can go to another view and select it. You can view it, select it in the outliner, but you can also do this, view, select camera. And you can see, look, by having the resolution gate, this goes white, so it shows you you've got the camera selected. So I can press S now, and that's keyed the camera. I'm then going to just press play, and I like to do this. I press play and I just stop it where I want the camera to move. So I press play. I'm going to have a cut about there. So he goes off the screen. So I'm going to key the camera again there. So between frame 1 and 60, the camera's doing nothing. Then I'm just going to move forward one frame. Okay, and then I'm going to spin the camera around to kind of this view here. Or I've got motion blur on, so I'm just going to turn that off. So in the renderer, under viewport 2.0, just going to go here and turn motion blur off. It's very nice, but when you're doing camera cuts, it also puts motion blur on those camera cuts, so you don't really want that. So I'll close that down. And so look, between frame 60, 61, it's going to move around to here. So you can see I moved it then and it went back to where it was. So make sure the camera's selected again and press S. You've always got to have the camera selected. So we press play now. We see it plays, camera stays in position, then it cuts around to here. And then I want another camera cut. So let's go back to the beginning. Again, I'm going to do it where I play it and then press stop where I want the camera cut. So I just watch this, turned, cut. So about 120. So first of all, camera selected, press S to key in that position. Then I'm going to go to that point. I'm going to spin the camera around. maybe something like that as this shot. So key it again. So we've now got something looking like this. Like so. And if I extend my time slider a bit, so I'm going to just extend this up to say 400, I could then do something with this one here. So I could hold this pose. I have another cut here. Make sure the camera is selected, about 13154, and round about there. I'm going to just move forward one frame. 157, you can move forward one frame with this, and I'm going to just cut into Stan here. So let's get right in on him. So something like that, sort of a quite impressive shot. Now look, view select camera, because I've selected Stan there, press S again there. I'm just going to move my range slider a bit so I can just pick my keyframes a little bit easier. So we go like this, cut to there, cut to a close-up of him, and then about there, I want this camera to be moving in a bit. So I'm just going to dolly this in very slightly like this, and key it again. Now I want to see what that zoom's like. Sometimes, because of the tangents of the keyframes, the zoom might be a little bit irregular. So we can tidy that up in a bit. So we'll have a look, see what it does. It's not bad. It's not bad. I want it to be a more constant motion. You could see it slows down at the end. Okay, it slows down at the end there. So I'm going to put another cut in just to see if that screws up the tangents. So we're going to go around and focus on this guy here. So he'll be over that side. I'm obeying the line of action. So Earl here, he stays on the left-hand side of the screen looking right, and Stan is on the right-hand side of the screen looking left. So pick the camera again. Like that, and I'll just press S at that point so it zooms in. Now you can see, look, that zoom, because I've put another key in there, it's just adjusted the tangent of the motion curve, so you get that little bit of a wobble there. So if we have a look at that, I can just bring that up. I'm not going to bring up the animation workspace. I'll bring up just animation editor's graph editor. This is my camera animation. Okay, and we can have a look at between these keys here. So if I just pick those keys there and press F, this is where it's zooming in, and there's obviously a slight wobble there. There's a lot of keys there, so it's hard to see. But if I just select this area here, these keys here, and I make this movement a linear movement, so it's like a robotic movement, so it's just a totally constant movement. There's no acceleration, deceleration. It should make this movement much smoother. I think it is. There was a slight click in the playback then. I think that was just the computer. Yeah, that's smooth now. So look, you watch that again, you can see it's a nice smooth movement, like so. Okay, so that's the basics of kind of setting up your camera animation. That's how you key it. You can key little cuts like that, put little extra movements in and stuff like that. You always have to remember that the camera is selected before you key it. Remember, view, select camera there, and those two things there, the resolution gate and the masking, so you can see exactly what you're going to actually be rendering when it's finished. Okay.